Hi, Rachel. Hi, Elle. Good to see you again, Rachel. Hi, Lilac. Good to see you again. Hi, Hearts on Fire. Hi, Camilla. Hi, Mimi. Hi, Liana. Hey, hey. Hi, Mish. Thank y'all for the likes already. Hey, Nikki girl. Please tell me that you're doing okay. I mean, you don't have to lie to me. Hi, Ari, but tell me how you're doing if you feel okay doing that in the chat. I just want to check on you. Hi, Alina. Hi, Ann. Hi, C. Washington. Hi, user. A lot of numbers. Hi, Kaylee. Hi, Elisa. Hi, Shink. Agua's newest post with Nick standing like this and then Alandria's face is in the background. I hear you, Nikki. Let me know if you need some space to feel like you don't have to push through. Thank you so much. The video, y'all, I've been in the nail shop all day. I go to a little boutique nail salon, and so hi, Gigi. And so when I go, we're there pretty much all day because it's the one person. Did she really? See, now I read her Elite Daily article. Oh, I read her Elite Daily article where she called him her person. Hi, Bad. My boyfriend is going to show you his drink. They said, anything y'all want from us, we're going to get a bag. I don't care. And I love that for them. I'm hearing right now, Tashina. I love that for her. Hi, Nay. Coco lost. I'm so sad. Oh, baby Coco lost. Yeah. My husband is who watches.
Man. She got her, I love Coco, but she got her ass whooped too. It was like,
it wasn't even a light loss.
I'm not mad at Naomi winning for sure. I love the fact that Naomi's in there. Matter of fact, she's on right now. I think Naomi is, but yeah, man, it is what it is. But I love Naomi, and I hope she wins it all.
Go Naomi. Don't you love how we can just like root for one person and then switch teams when we need to? And that's what it is. Hi, Athena. That's exactly what it was, Bad.
To 525.
Exactly. That's what Chris was saying when he was watching the match, her last match with Naomi, or one of her matches with Naomi. He was like, she's just in her head. She's just in her head.
She was, man. The whole match.
Hi, Mia. Hi, Ann. Hello, everyone. Hi, Gina. Thank y'all so much for the likes. Hi, Taja. I feel like I saw you in the last live too. Gigi's live. Hi, Mika. Okay, y'all. So, Alandria said my boyfriend's going to show you his drink. Oh, we love that for her. Shink, I have so many things that I... Oh, yay, Mia. Thank you so much for subbing. What have you missed, Brianna? Nothing. We just got on. Yeah, so Agua it said that they've been sitting on this video for weeks. And I appreciate that. As much as we all love Nick and Alandria. Hi, Anika. Hi, Ty. Hi, Blue Vanilla. Oh, okay. I love that as much as we love Nick and Alandria, they're like, we're definitely going to do it on our own time. Like, we really don't care what it is that y'all want. I mean, not like that, you know what I mean? But kind of like that, you know, like we're going to, hi, Brianna. Yes, they're basically like, listen, we're going to do it on our time. What makes sense for us, you know? When he moved, you got scared. You didn't know he was a real person. Hi, Jar2. Okay, period, Ann. I need to know what you think afterwards. Y'all, I feel like... Hold on, I want to clean my camera. I feel blurry. Hold on. Yes, she said boyfriend, y'all. She said my boyfriend's going to show you his drink, y'all. Hold on, it's going to get dark for a second. Okay, yeah, that's much better. Much better. my little grimy hands was all over the camera. Taija, they were definitely keeping it close to the chest, and honestly, good for them. Good for them. Yes, yes. She said boyfriend. Y'all, she said boyfriend. Alandria said boyfriend. And I appreciate again, I said to y'all what months ago at this point, I guess, or at least like 4-ish, 6-ish, whenever they came right at the villa, I was like, I really want them to find a balance around how much they feel like they have to give to us and how much they get to keep for themselves. Like, we do not deserve access to everything. And so I'm really glad that they let themselves wait to show it to us. I'm happy for them that they seem to be in a good space. Now, can I be petty for like 2 seconds? It's fine. Of course it's fine. Now, how they go official? Y'all know the rest of my sentence. Y'all know the rest of my sentence. Boy, if you don't get it together. Like, please stop playing with her. Please stop playing with her. But I told y'all, this is how I felt in the villa. This is how I felt in the villa. I feel like I've told y'all this before. When they sat down on that dock, not y'all using that. Oh, goddamn, babe. When they sat down on that dock and she had made him the breakfast and she was basically saying, you're it. You're the person. Gigi, I love you using the picture. You're the person. And he was like, all right. And then we still had like 2 more episodes before he finally was like, let me tell you all about Ace. And finally, it be feeling like sometimes he be wanting her to like beg for it. I don't like that for her. Personally.
I don't like that for no woman.
I will say to the person that asked, do I think they're really official or did they do it for the commercial? Agua is saying that they sat on the footage for weeks, which makes me think that it was only released because Alandria and Nick gave them the go-ahead, or their teams did. So I would presume that means that they're okay with it being out there because it feels accurate to them now. And he's supposed to go live tonight. So like it's all a scheme that Ace set up. It's all, you know what I mean? So like, I don't think that the timing is for no reason. He probably knew that they were ready to announce. The ad was gonna come out and now he's ready to go live. Y'all, I truly do love it for them. Yes, their barbecue little date was so cute. It was very, very cute. Very, very cute. Okay. Y'all, I was reading her Elite Daily article, Alandria. Emirates, they just told me about it. Oh, yes. Sorry, Gigi. Are you requested already? Okay, yes. Hold on. Here's Gigi. Nothing, Bree. We just got on.
Hello, friends. Welcome to the Tinaverse.
Hello, hello.
As you know, we have a few housekeeping rules. Hello, Tina. Hello, Chris. How are y'all? So we do have a few housekeeping rules in here. If you are in here and you're in this lobby, make sure that you are tapping the screen, please. We love to push this live out. Let's not forget, Tina does have 2 subscription tiers, okay? 2 subscription tiers are here. Let's go ahead and click on the bio. You can see the subscriptions. We have the Yappers, and then we have our higher subscription. It's only slightly higher, but if the longer you get the subscription for, the cheaper it is. There's also a Google form. If you have questions that you would like Tina or Chris to answer, they do go live on Sundays to answer these questions. Google form is also in the bio. So please make sure that you sign up. If you can't sign up for the subscription, then we do have subscription videos. Thank you for subbing for 12 months, Nia. If you don't have any subs, if you don't have any money to subs right now, you can always go to YouTube and subscribe there. That's free. You can see these lives. These lives are recorded. They are posted there. So make sure, let's support Tina. Let's support Chris. Let's support the greatest manager ever, and get this live pushed out. Let's not forget, keep it cute or I will mute. I was Blockarella over there. I will be Blockarella over here. We have mods that like to keep this live peaceful. We do respect opinions. We respect perspectives, but keep it cute or else I will have to bring out a dictionary. Thank you.
Thank you, Gigi. Yes, y'all. All that Gigi said, Gigi is always so on top of my shit and my lives with me. I appreciate Gigi so much for that. All my mods, like my regular, anyway, let me not, because I was feeling very grateful for y'all today, like on some real shit, not even being funny. Like when I was in Gigi's live, and then I was in another live, and just like people having so much love for the work that I put out very intentionally for y'all just made me feel very good. So I'm very grateful that y'all choose to hold space with me in this way. Hi, Fontaine. So I'm just, yeah, I'm really grateful for y'all. Thank you so much for being in this space with me. That said, yes, we saw that they are official. Apparently Nick has reposted that they are official. We love that for them. I did user, wait, what YouTube did you ask me to do, by the gods? Hi, woman, Essence Magazine, I'm doing really well. You're no more on timeout, mindful as fuck. What YouTube did you ask me to do? Y'all, if you ask me to do things in live. Oh, yes, I did join YouTube. So if you go to my link, my like, click on my face and you'll see my bio, and there's 2 links, and one of them is a YouTube link, and that is, I do post all of the lives to YouTube. But if you ask me to do things and you ask me in here, I'm not going to remember. You have to DM me. You have to inbox me, or I will not remember. And then if I forget, you have to like send another message like, hey, Tina, just want to check in and make sure that you saw this message. At least right now, right? Like while I have the capacity to do that, I want y'all to be able to do that. Hi, DBD. Hi, Ruby. Hi, Daniela. Hi, Addictive. Hi, Shanika. So yes, you can go over there and do that. Y'all, officially, I launched subscriptions officially 1 month ago today, which is wild because again, that was on a whim. Like Gigi said, it's so good to see you too. Like Gigi said, the highest tier right now does have a book club. I am going to drop a book list very, very shortly. I want Chris to, can you go to like, so I know that like some people have asked me like how to get to the Discord. I'm going to be honest with y'all, Discord is new to me because this is what TikTok uses. So, but if you go to my profile and you click on subscription and you're subscribed, I did, Kiana, and you're subscribed. Hi, CJ. There will be a Discord option. Is that true? Am I telling the truth? No. Yeah. Go to my actual face. And then click on subscription. I'm making sure I'm not lying to y'all.
Yeah, Discord.
Okay, yeah. So if you go, if you click on subscription and scroll down just a little bit, it'll look like this. Oh, hold on. Let me take this background off for you. It'll look like, focus, like that. And you see the Discord role. You just click on that and then you can join. Now, if you don't see that, it's on their Instagram, Shayla. If you don't see that, then that just means that you're not subscribed to the higher tier, which is totally fine because you still get the videos and you still get all of but also, but they will also, include conversation, like where you can like ask a therapist, right? It's not therapy, but you can like ask a therapist, right? Like if your homegirl was a therapist, what's the question you'd want to ask her, type of thing. And it also will include lives just for like just videos for us to like have like a book club of sorts. CJ, I will be watching Love Island Games. I'll be watching Real Housewives of Potomac when it comes out on October 5th. Hi, MTia. I also will probably be doing continued like relationship stuff because the relationship analysis doesn't exist only within the sphere of Love Island. So I'll continue to make content around that. I did hear that, I think somebody in Gigi's live told me that Alan might be going on The Breakfast Club. Honestly, that sounds like a nightmare, but to each their own. I do not watch Love Island. Wait, you're asking if I watch Love is Blind UK. Okay. I don't currently. How many seasons are there? I watched Love is Blind, the one season with the girl that said everybody says that she looks like Megan. What's the one girl? Okay, baby. Megan Fox. Yes, I watched that season because they were lunatics, that couple. And the reason why I'm calling them Alan and Michelle is just because those are their legal names. Hi, Jay. Okay, and then I'm going to go watch your reviews too. Exactly, Ivy. Thank you. Okay, the new one's coming out in October. Okay. Yeah, user, I read that. Honestly, I don't even fucking care. Like, I mean, I know okay, let me not be so dismissive. Taylor said, 3D said that, okay, yes, I will totally do one. I did like Love is Blind reviews about AD and Clay and Chelsea, and who was the guy that she was with? Do y'all remember his name? Hi, Anaya. Yeah, I don't remember. Jimmy. And I was like, this girl, Chelsea, is making Jimmy likable. Hi, Monsi. And you have got to be down bad if you're making Jimmy likable, because Jimmy was not a likable person. So that they don't trend, CJ. And because nicknames are terms of endearment, and right now I'm not feeling very endeared toward them. No, not AD and Ollie. AD from when she was originally on Love is Blind with Clay. Okay. Not watch UK and tell us what's wrong with Katisha. You just know it's something wrong with her? That's funny. I have watched The Circle before. Yes. I haven't watched it, I think, for maybe the last 2 seasons. Yeah, Chelsea was definitely giving when you choose the trauma that you know. I don't know if everybody watched Love is Blind their season, but that was definitely giving choosing the trauma that you know, which is not uncommon. And I've said this to y'all before. Thank you so much, Nina. I've said this to y'all before. Be careful of choosing the place that feels like home if home was not safe. Be careful of choosing the things that are familiar if all that you've ever known is dysfunction. Oh, so Katasha did the same. Okay, yeah, I'm going to go watch it. Wait, which platform is it on? Is it on Netflix? I know, love, no. Is it on Netflix? Okay. Okay. Cool. Okay, I got y'all into Are You My First? Okay, y'all. I have to tell you this like fangirly kind of thing. So y'all know that I made a video about how Farha was my favorite on Are You My First? Thank you so much, Miss Pam. How she was my favorite, how she's such a fucking queen. I love her down. She's so fucking hilarious. She found my post about her. And now we're mutuals. Maddie also found my post about them and commented on it. It is very interesting. So it is like, so Anne, we do not like Noah. Anne does let y'all, so Anne does some reviews on this, and Anne actually tells us that it's produced from the Are You My First is actually produced by the same people that produced Love Island. So it's essentially the same exact concept, just everybody's a fucking virgin. And so they're very cringe. It's not that she did anything, I would say. No, not actually, I don't know if it's the same producers from season 7, Mia, or if they're just producers that have worked on Love Island. I don't know. That's a great question. But I will say they're just very awkward, but it's a good show. It'll be interesting for you all. If you're interested, like, we can have a live about this once y'all have watched it, but like, it's interesting because you watch them like spot certain things in real time, but then ignore those things. Daya pissed me off real bad, Rachel. Cause girl, why are you in Jade's face about that man? About him being unclear with you. And Daya, why are you unclear? Has he not been? Why are you not being clear? He said the girl's name when y'all went on y'all's date and you clocked it then, but you still walking around thinking that y'all are the strongest connection. It's delusion. We have to not do that to ourselves, y'all. When you feel that thing in your body, pay attention to it. And Jade, beautiful. It's on Hulu. Beautiful. Beautiful woman. But when you clocked that man was a red pillar, you should have stopped right there. You didn't need to circle back for another conversation. You went back to let him explain, and then he did a shitty ass job explaining. And I will say that Godwin, he was not shit. Godwin is the red pillar. Godwin was not shit. He said what almost every man says for their love language: physical touch and acts of service. First of all, love languages are not even real. Let's start there. They were made up by a pastor who wanted to convince women that they should keep having sex with their husbands even when they didn't want to, because that was their love language. I'm just telling you. Now, sure, you can use it as a great frame of reference. Absolutely. Maybe it helps you to conceptualize some things. Great. But it's not scientifically based. It was a scheme set up by Todd, Pia. Exactly, Jen. You feel me? So when, well, CJ, because that's actually scientific. MK, Todd is Candy Burris' husband. And it's a famous line that her Aunt Bertha said about him. It was a scheme. It was all a scheme that Todd set up. It was a scheme that Todd set up. Period. Words of bank statements, acts of bank transfers and deposits. So the fact that he said that is just because, you know, I mean, if y'all have never watched the show Goop, Goop, they have a really great episode that kind of touches on some of this, that basically talks about how lots of men think that their love language is physical touch because they only know how to conceptualize intimacy through sex. And so when that's the only way that you can conceptualize intimacy, you don't understand that intimacy is conversation, it's emotional depth, right? You think that, well, the way that I'm loved is through physical touch. But that's just because you haven't developed the emotional range to understand that it's more than that. So all that to say, Godwin was definitely giving all the red pillar comments. I don't believe in gender roles, and then told us all the gender roles for what he thought should happen in a relationship. And then Jade was like, huh? But then went back to talk to him again. Like, girl. I will say for Noah and Andrew, Noah and Andrew were giving, I don't know where Noah grew up, but I know that Andrew grew up in like Utah. Like, it was definitely given you grew up in Utah. Because why are y'all acting like, no shade, but why are y'all acting like Brooklyn is just like the baddest bitch? She's skinny and blonde with blue eyes, you know, like, but it's they buy into a particular narrative around what beauty is. Hi, Erica. So yeah, it was giving trash, both of them. Okay, yes, y'all, I saw Taylor's. Rachel, the crazy thing is the men did it too when Mike got there. He was tall and fit with blue eyes, and so he's going to be, all the girls are going to fall for him. And this just goes back to how men perform for other men more than they do women, because the women wasn't falling over themselves. It was the boys falling over themselves about how the girls were going to fall over themselves about him. It was weird. It was so weird. Okay, yes, I saw Taylor's article. Taylor's article is very old. It's from July 11th. So it doesn't feel like, I guess, I don't know, some people feel shocked by it. I don't. I think he probably said it in order to be shocking. I think he wanted people to be like, oh my God, I can't believe this. All of a sudden, this must mean that this relationship is so real. No, like, is this being shady to be like, I'm not really impressed by what Michelle thinks about somebody's romantic relationship considering the one she's in? I agree, Nachi. I agree, Mia. Attention-seeking behavior. Like, I'm sorry, you're not the authority. I don't think it came out today, Natalie. I think they reposted it or something today because it's from July. So I don't know why it's like all of a sudden getting so much traction on the internet. I think it's basically them just being messy. You know what I mean? Like, all of this talk. So it's like, okay, let's push this article to the top again. Well, you know, here's the thing, user, nobody has seen it because nobody gives a fuck about 3D. No shade, but like, who's checking for him for real? When the majority of your fan base spends their time just hating other Islanders, you don't actually have a fan base. So we didn't know the article existed because nobody actually gives a fuck about him as a person on the show. I think a lot of people just don't like other Islanders. Because the reality is, I never see anything from Houdini. I don't see anything from Amaya. I don't see anything from, like, any of the boys, if I'm being honest. Not even Nick. Like, I see content from the people that I like, that I engage with, because that's who I'm fans with. But a lot of these other people, they spend a lot of time on the pages of people they say they don't like. So it's like, are you really his fan? Or do you just dislike this other Islander? Chicken Shawarma asks, do I think it's correct for people to drag people? Yep. Do I think it's okay, or like, do I think it's correct for people to be dragging Michelle into Alan's actions? I have complicated feelings about this. Because I never believe in holding a woman accountable for a man's bad behaviors. It's never a woman's fault for the bad behavior. Are you accountable for the company you keep? Yes. So what I think I see happening, now maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is not what people's motivations are at all, and I'm misunderstanding. What I feel like I see people doing is people are going, oh, this is yet another thing where you have moved weird and you have been associated with somebody that has animosity toward these people that you say that you love, and that's weird, and so now I don't want to fuck with it no more. I don't really see people saying like, and again, maybe I'm wrong, right? I don't see people saying things like, Michelle is the reason why Alan said that, and Michelle placed that, thought into his head, and she encouraged or supported him doing that. What I've heard a lot of is like, people don't believe that Michelle didn't know, which I agree. As a partner, you probably know what your partner thinks about somebody. Even if you disagree with it, you at least know, And then I see a lot of people saying, okay, 404, 3D's your best friend, and now your man is moving like this. Like, girl, you don't keep good company. And if you don't keep good company, that says something about your character. And that's what I see people trying to like hold her accountable around. And to be frank, if I'm honest, I think that in a way that makes it where like it wouldn't matter if she made a statement or not. Because unless she actually leaves that relationship in some way, it's an endorsement. I agree, Pia. I was the same way. I was like, listen, it's weird, but I don't know the conversations they've had. I don't want to make presumptions. You know what I'm saying? I can give a little space and grace because ultimately it's not my relationship, but it is weird. But now it's like, nah, yeah. Like somebody else said, pattern recognition. There's only so many times you can watch somebody do something before you're like, oh, okay, that just might like be who you are. Like, I know I said this for subs. I didn't like make this public, right? And I'm using an extreme example. I'm not saying this is the case for any Islander. Let me provide that disclaimer. But it's like the you may not be a grapist, but if you hang out with grapists, you're still okay with keeping their company. Hi, Ebony. Exactly. There's only so many times that you can overlook something before you're like, I can't keep acting like it's not happening. Because then at that point, we're deluding our own selves as well. Hi, Tiara. Somebody asked me if I thought Michelle should be being dragged into like Alan's actions. And so I'm saying essentially it's complicated, right? That I don't think she's responsible for his behaviors, but she is responsible for her own. And I think that some people are saying there are enough for them at this point where they're saying, I'm good. You know what I mean? More than I think it's about people trying to say that she's like it's her fault that he's acting how he's acting. If that makes sense. Hi, Tiffany. You know what? Yes. So Sunflower, you're welcome. I read Ola's epic or Elite Daily article. She mentions Michelle all the time, but Alan and Michelle's articles say they do not mention Ola at all. It was a one-sided friendship. I think that that's fair for people to start wanting to draw certain conclusions. You know what I mean? Like it's okay to say, I see a lot of love from one direction to the other and maybe not so much from the other direction that way. And it's okay for people to say, I don't see reciprocity, and so I don't personally fuck with that as a fan. I think it's okay for people to choose that. You know what I mean? Thank you, A Whole Snack, for sharing the live. Like, I think it's okay for people to do that. And I do think that, I know that there are going to be like extremists in every fan base. That's true. Like, there are going to be people that are all the way in one direction. That's like, whoa, like, are you okay? But I think for the most part, I've seen people trying to hold that tension and that nuance. I feel you, user. You know what I mean? Exactly, Nashi. And I think that's a lot. And please tell me if I'm saying your name wrong. I think that's a lot of people's kind of like perspective at this point. Like moving on from Michelle, but wishing her the best still. Like, I hope good things for you. And I'm just choosing to disengage. I will say, I don't say everything out loud. to the general public, but I do. There were a couple of things that made me have to be like, yeah, I think I need to like step back as a fan. You know, I'm never gonna like wish somebody. The only person I've ever been like, I hope nothing they touch prospers is Houdini. But everybody else, I'm like, girl, you know, hey, do your thing. I don't fuck with you, but you ain't did nothing egregious. You know, I mean, I guess 404, but I really don't think about 404 at all to wish anything for her. I mean, that's the thing about 3D. 3D is IMO, an abuser. So yeah, I don't wish good things for him. I wish that he would go to see somebody. I'm realizing that I'm fidgeting and that's probably loud. My bad, y'all. You have to tell me. So yeah, for me, it's like, I would be a liar as an almost 40-year-old woman to tell you that I think Michelle had no idea that Alan felt the way that he did. No. No. I don't believe that for a second. I think they both understand where the other one is on it. Do I know that she like was like, oh yeah, I know he's gonna go say things like that on the podcast? If she knew what the questions were, which we know that he probably got them beforehand, maybe, but I can't say that for sure. Exactly, Jen. She knew how he felt, but I don't know if she knew he would speak publicly about it. Like, I don't know. Did she think he was gonna have a little bit more, you know, suave than that? Hi, Jelly. Oh, thank you so much. Like, did she think he was going to be a little bit, you know, more demure than he was? I don't know. Oh, Michelle made a comment during the Caribbean Awards that suggested she thought Alandria would be a sidekick. Do you know what she said? Listen, yes, gay. I mean, shouldn't the point of the podcast have been to promote their love for the Essence article? Yes. I think that should have been the focus. She just said that's her girl. I think there's only so much, you know, listen. My subscribers, hi Risa, my subscribers know more of like my unfiltered thoughts around Alan when it comes to Michelle. But I would say I am absolutely holding Michelle accountable around some things that like, hi Jules, that I feel like she needs to be like, and by holding her accountable, I mean, I'm choosing to move in a certain type of way based on how I am perceiving some of her actions around like as a fan. Right? That's what I mean by like, I'm holding her accountable. I'm saying, this is how you're acting. This is how people that I support act. And so this is how I'm going to respond. Thank you so much. I would also just say out loud, the one thing I will say out loud is how do I want to phrase it? I don't think that their dynamic makes a lot of space for Michelle to show up as her whole self from things that I've seen. Not knowing, now knowing what you know about Ace's intention, do you think there will be longevity in their relationship? I still do. Unless she somehow recognizes it for what it is, I think that there will be. Jules, they're asking me about Michelle and Alan. Unless she's able to clock, oh, this is bad for my brand, which I think she might be to an extent at this point. And this is controlling, this is bad. If she's able to do that, then I could see it ending. If she's not, then I think they do stay together. I think that she enjoys some of the things about him that some of us in the regular world don't. because I think they have a lot more similarities than people clock. I agree, Jules. She wants that power couple really badly. They both do, is what you said. They both want that power couple so bad, and she thinks there's power in them staying together. Beyonce and Jay-Z. I'm just going to keep pointing us back to that comment. I'm going to keep pointing us. And I don't want to, you know, I'm not going to say that. Never mind. Some thoughts stay inside thoughts. Yeah. So Jenna, when they were in the villa, Alan said to her, how are we going to be Beyonce and Jay-Z if you don't have your shit together? No, bae. I'll say it in a subscriber only video. No, I'm not. No, I'm just kidding. The reason I'm not saying it, y'all, is because I don't know if I fully agree with that statement yet. It's like a thought that I'm still working out in my head. So I'm a big person of like, I like to work it all the way through before I say it. Just because I think it doesn't mean I need to say it. So it's not even like I just think it's going to be so controversial. Thank you for saying that, Apple user. Thank you, Jelly. Thank you, Audra. Yes, like, yes, I am very, I try to be very, even though people think I'm not. Yes, spelling A. Yes, I do. People think that I'm not intentional, but I swear I don't just be saying shit, y'all. I be going off the dome sometimes, but it's usually a thought I've worked over a couple times in my head first. Thank you so much, Ginger. You're welcome, spelling A. Y'all, I will say I'm like a week behind, but I swear I'm going to upload them. But there's like hours on there because we be on live for hours sometimes. Hi, Sierra. Pia, what do you mean by that? About them being hierarchical? Okay, yes, Ashley. Yes, and I made a video. Yes. Truthfully, after seeing the Hannah voting scene, her and Ace have more similarities than I thought. Not just, hi, Neek. The voting scene with Hannah. The kissing scene. I know, Chitty. The kissing scene during Casa. During the challenge. And then watch her in interviews when it's just her and the girls. Very similar energies. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Hi, T. Pia says they view relationships on a hierarchy and interact with those dynamics in mind. That makes sense. I totally could see why you see that. User says, I think she won't stay. I think originally she would have, but his label is being a hater tied to her. I mean, listen, I said this in Gigi's live earlier today. I do think that if it comes down to it damaging her brand, she will sever because she is very much, protection of self is very much a priority for her, which is not a negative per se. I do take issue with, and y'all have heard me say this before, I do take issue with when we're not able to see something as wrong beyond our own experience. And I just move through life like that in general. So just because it's not a problem for me, for example, when I go to like presentations or whatever, and somebody's like, oh, well, I have a loud voice, it's fine, everybody can hear me. No, not everybody can. And even though I can, doesn't mean everybody can. And so for me, it's my job as one of the people in the room to be able to say, like, actually, no, can you use the mic? Or this is why y'all see me put captions on all of my videos. Right? Because just because it's not my struggle doesn't mean it's not somebody's struggle. And I think that we should move with empathy. To your point, Harpo Hudis, right? If you cannot empathize with other people, if you cannot see beyond your own self and your own issues, that to me is already like a hold on, like a yellow flag situation. Somebody asked me if I thought that, exactly, she is 28 now, Jules. Yes, I know, Desiree. He hasn't told us what time. Do you know what time? Exactly, Rachel. Exactly. It's like a lot of people, whether they have hearing issues or they have ADHD, they need the visual with the audio. Yes, user. That's one of those moments that I think that it shows up that they are very similar. Did I leave before somebody made a point in the other live about Alan possibly getting the podcast before it was released? Meaning like he got the podcast sent to him, hi baby, and then reviewed it and okayed it? Is that what you mean? You so silly. Jules, he said he was going to stream, so we'll see. Okay, somebody asked if I thought that Sharon, it could be both. I literally could not hear the TV if the words are not on the screen. I don't know what you're saying. I don't know what you're saying. I'm sorry. Okay. Somebody asked if I thought that now Alan would do like a big grand gesture since Olandria and Nick have like hard launched Gone Official. I think he was always going to do a big grand gesture. Words. I think he was always going to do a big grand gesture because that's just how he is, right? That's, oh, thank you so much. Hi, Brooke. I think that he was always going to do a grand gesture. Yes, Ebony, go watch Agua's latest post, a video. Seven minutes ago, he was in Walmart with Baltimore Baddie. Okay, we'll have to see. So, Kat, what Agua said is that they've been sitting on that footage for weeks, but Agua just released it onto their platform. It is, but she didn't have to say boyfriend. She could, because they had one with Kulani Keeney's where she's like, Nick is gonna blah 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 about him coming to like show his new sets. So she chose to say boyfriend. They've been telling us they move with intentionality. They've been telling us that. Yeah. And Agua is liking all of the hard launch comments. Thank you. Natalie, maybe, but Nick has reposted it. And again, these people have moved too intentionally for us to feel like it was a Freudian slip for her to say boyfriend. If it's a scam, keep scamming me. Yes, this was before the podcast even. And they probably, like, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, they were like, oh, let's, like, record this because we think we're going down this way. Maybe we will or won't use it, but we'll record it. And if it does become true, then we'll let y'all release it. You know what I mean? So I think it was, oh my God, I'm still fidgeting. I don't even know if I think that like they were boyfriend and girlfriend the whole time. I think that like it's also possible in my brain that like they were like, well, we're headed in that direction, so we'll record it and we'll let y'all hard launch us when it's true. You know exactly, P. I could see them like recording with the future in mind, even if it wasn't true at that moment. And then if it never became true, whatever, just scrap the content, you know? It's a very cute way to announce it. And again, tied to a bag. Again, like Alandria and Nick told us, right? If y'all want to see us doing this or that, go watch the show back, right? Like we already performed for y'all. And so I think that they're choosing, and I love that for them. They're choosing how they're going to allow us consume their image, allow us to consume their imagery and their images, which is something I've always really liked about Ace and Michelle as well, right? I really like that about them as well. I appreciate that you're choosing how you want us to consume you. The problem most recently is just that Alan is not, I think he's trying to put on an image that he doesn't realize. He's still so young, but I think he doesn't realize what the image really is. You know, like he thinks he's doing the I'm just keeping it real, blah, blah, blah. Hi, dark skin lover girl. I'm just saying what everybody else is thinking, but won't say because I'm courageous and I'm this and I'm that nigga and da 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 da. Like he doesn't realize that it's just feeding everything that he says production made up about him. I like how Agua drops those crumbs. Oh shit, it went away. Oh, how Agua drops those crumbs to coincide with every time they make headlines or even the lows, period. I don't know if Michelle is walking for Fashion Week. I know Gigi, so Kulani Kini did tell us that. Okay, y'all, sorry. I think definitely he's going to do a grand gesture. I think it was always going to be a grand gesture. I think the question really is like, do I think his timeline will be sped up because of it? I think no. And the only reason I think that is because we heard him in the villa say, well, I don't want to close off just because another nigga is here, because he knows what that looks like. So I do think that he would resist that because he knows what it would look like. So I don't think it will speed up his timeline, but I do think he was always going to do a big grand gesture. Hi, Viva. Exactly. It will look reactive and people will be like, oh, you're just doing that because of, and even if that's true, he's not going to give us the ability to say that. He's not going to walk straight into that. You know what I mean? You didn't like Ola's hair for CHC and you got kicked out? Thank you. I am. Thank you for saying that. Why did they kick you out for not liking her hair? I know, I watched that interview. She still looks so shy. MK, don't even get me started, child. Don't even get me started. Who wants to see 404 at New York Fashion Week? Like, no shade. Oh, do you think he still makes her nervous? I think it's the combination of him and the camera. You know what I mean? Like, I think if it was just him, maybe no. If it was just the camera, maybe don't. I think it's the combination of both. It's her knowing, oh, we had an interesting name just pop into the live. We'll see how long they can keep it cute. I think it's going to depend. I think it's the combination of both that make her nervous and more bashful. I mean, y'all see me. I be blushing with this man that I've been married to for, how old are my kids? 14 years. And it's only because y'all are here on this. It's only because of this. Like, that's the only reason why. I mean, I might still blush a little bit, but you know what I mean? MPB, somebody asked me if I think that Alandria is like, that Nick still makes her nervous. She is hyper aware. She's like, you're gonna clip us. You're gonna clip us. It do be like that for real. My kids are the tracker. Because after a certain amount of time, you just like, we've been together for a long ass time. I don't fucking know. We did. That's what we were just talking about. Thank you, Chris. 14 years. I got it. It came. Okay. Shayla, please. Ma'am. Stop. See? No. Nope. Don't do it. Hi, Hagatha. Hi, Misty. Yeah, I agree. I think it's I think yeah, I don't post very much in CHC. I just be watching. Y'all, I'm gonna be honest, the platform is it's a lot going on. I be overstimulated. Stop, Rachel. Oh my goodness. Shut up, Jules. Y'all are funny. Okay. Anyway. Because it's the way I literally want to kick my feet right now, Shayla. So please. Okay. Please. What do we feel? What do we feel? Y'all, control it, okay? I can't, y'all. I can't. Anyway. Anyway. Look at me, I done fan myself. Lord. Stop, Chris. Okay. How do we feel about Brian confirming that he was scamming? Change the subject. I can't with y'all. Y'all, we are at almost 60K. We're going to open up our panel. We did already know that, Rachel. How do we feel about the fact that, well, he liked to comment is what it was, Brianna. He liked to comment that said a lot of stuff. Be quiet, Jules. And one of the things was that he was scamming. It was implied. And then he liked the comment. Confirmation, right? Whatever. What I think is most interesting about that whole thing is how now Amaya is in the comments of videos and things basically saying that like she's the victim in all of it. And that feels... Shut up. Oh my God. I don't think Amaya didn't know, Gay. I think it's performative as well, Shayla. Okay, so the panel is open. Y'all continue to like the live. T, that's the question. You're so funny for that, Viva. So she has basically been in the comments of several videos. Oh, he's doing the thing that I said would hurt me the most. And and I told him that I was in love with him. She's just putting on this big performance. And to me, it's giving exactly what we saw in the villa around her being the like the underdog, the victim. It feels performative. It does not feel real. And it feels like she's doing it because she feels like that's what we expect from her. And that's what will make us root for her as America. You know what? I'm going to start muting y'all about talking about me and these goddamn flutters, okay? I'm going to mute y'all. Okay, I've got my first panelist coming up. Hello. Hey, Jules. Hey, Love Note.
Hello. How are you? Good, in a happy mood.
Good, I'm glad.
Y'all, what did Amaya say? She said, wow, I can't believe this, Brian. Wow, I'm so hurt.
The flutter.
Like papaya. Girl.
Gigi. She got the flutters. Look at her. She's so red. That's not a filter, y'all. Just so you know, that's not a filter. She really is red. Tina be trying to control it. She knows she can't. That's how y'all know Big C be doing his thing. And they don't call him Big C for nothing. Go ahead, Chris. I'm Team Chris all day. Go ahead, Chris.
Y'all are too much. She is a bad influence.
What are you talking about? Bad influence. I just happen to be a really good accomplice. I don't know what you're talking about.
Y'all are stressing me out. Okay.
She having a high school girl feeling.
Oh my
She
God.
really is. She said, "You make me feel like a teenage dream. You better stop."
Tina, I told you that's what love is supposed to feel like.
Uh-huh.
It feel good. It
To
should.
quote the great Alan Labubu.
Jasmine, like, for real. Let me breathe.
Chris said, "I ain't never letting the pressure up."
Not. Okay, y'all. Jeez. Have some decorum.
Never.
I'm so happy I get to see this side. Oh, get it.
Hey, y'all better tap this
I'm
screen.
on this app.
One time
No,
for
just
Big
kidding,
C.
just
Y'all
kidding.
better tap this screen.
That deserves some roses.
I just want to talk about. Let's change the
Okay.
subject. I want to talk about the Jussie Smollett documentary I just watched.
Okay,
And
and
the good news is,
I
believe he's innocent.
and Sakvul. And
We
Sakvul.
have to acknowledge that kiss.
Yeah, and
he's
you
innocent.
Sakvul. And Sakvul.
Change the subject. You're embarrassing her.
Wait a
Jussie
minute.
is innocent.
Okay, I'm over here trying to play fairy godmother over here.
Somebody said in the comments, you
Y'all
can't
let my homie get
feeling or something.
right. Let my homie get in, dog.
That was funny. However,
I'm trying to
I
ride
think
for my
Jussie is
homie Big
innocent.
C. What are you doing?
Anybody
man?
else are mad at the brothers for promoting their book in the end, and the other brother could even remember the title?
Absolutely.
And you're going to say the need for a modern day, the L word
yes.
of a gay black man? How dare you? Listen, I watched Empire.
Wait, what are
Jussie
we
was so
talking about?
talented, and guess what? He was x'd out of the last season because of this. Like, it ruined his acting career. I think he just recently did a movie last year. Yeah, I'm still talking dark skin, something. Yeah, because
She
I don't
really
want
is
you
trying
to
to
be
ride for your
embarrassed.
sanity. Cena.
Okay, can we
How do we get
acknowledge
Jussie
this
Smollett?
comment?
It's streaming on Netflix.
Can we acknowledge this comment in here about how somebody said, so listen, y'all, I never thought that Pepe cheated. I'm not saying that I think he couldn't. I'm just saying I wasn't going to believe it simply because somebody got online and said it. I just need more data than that. And somebody said that they think that Pepe hired TMZ to ask him those questions so that he could clear his name.
I agree. I think she was trying to find an easy way out because I think she was tired of the relationship and she had other options that she wanted to explore, and that was an easy out.
Why does Iris not get any flack for that? Because to Pia's point, Iris never directly said that he cheated, but she also never cleared up that he didn't.
Cause she's a girl. She's just a girl. Like, and she's a white girl at that. So they not finna get in her face.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Their lives were always very boring, outside of them being quite literally on top of each other. Because I used to tell y'all that I would watch it for like scientific purposes. Quite literally, outside of that, they would not be doing anything on them. Like, it was always giving like it's just physical and nothing.
And just to clear it up for the confusion in the comments, she's not white passing. She is white. Okay, that is her race. Ethnically, she is Hispanic. She is white. Let's clear that up. I'm going to add that to the vocabulary list, okay?
And let's be real, she is Hispanic in the same way that Selena Gomez is Hispanic. in the same way that Jennifer Lopez is Hispanic.
Not the J-Lo slander.
Yes, exactly. White people can be Hispanic. Exactly, Birdie Wolf. So, y'all, ethnicity, race,
Wait, where
nationality.
is Iris from?
She's Peruvian, I think, or something like that.
They said I think her like one is Chilean and one is Ukrainian. I don't remember. I mean, that's how like uninteresting she has been, right? Okay, yeah. Chilean and Ukrainian. So yeah. Okay, how do we feel, y'all? I'm gonna step away, but I do want y'all to talk. Y'all tell me if you don't want to talk about this, but I know we don't talk about Houdini on here very often, but I did see that Houdini, Papaya, and Iris were together recently.
Yes, for her birthday party.
And those dynamics
Apparently,
were very interesting.
people were saying they're the new PPG. I said, get the F out of here.
I'm sorry, they really said that?
Yes.
Yes, they did.
Yes, I saw some comments on the Facebook.
Yeah, they could never.
I feel like the same Iris exactly user. I feel like Iris flew under a lot of people's radar because she's quiet. But I have always said for that girl to be as locked in as she was with TJ, and for us to hear from Hannah that TJ's politics didn't align with her, I knew that they had to be, and we know where Hannah's politics align. She has to be on that level in some way, in my opinion. And the same way that I say about Michelle, you are the company you keep, including the people you fuck. I feel the same way about Iris.
And
I'm not shocked,
honestly,
but I feel like she hasn't gotten any flack for it.
And I honestly have not seen her spend time with anyone outside of the villa who is not blonde. Like, I honestly haven't. She's with Hannah, Bella. Even the night before the reunion when Ola was in the mixed room with Pepe, and I think Pepe had said Iris was getting ready to go out, and Ola was like, really, where? And Pepe tried to play it off like, oh yeah, we're all going out. I'm dressing up like this. I think Pepe was trying to not let it be known that like Ola wasn't in a sense included in that them going out. And that night she went out with Hannah and Amaya. Those are who I've seen her hang out. I have not, even her friends, they're not any persons of color, any other ethnicity or anything other than what she looks like. And there's no way even, and I did see the video even with her with Houdini, and Houdini, she looked like she was paying more attention to Iris than she was to Amaya. Honestly, I felt like Amaya was trying to hang on to her, where I think it's almost getting to a point where I think she's tired of Amaya hanging on to her. So I don't know if anyone else watched that video, but that was my observation.
I did. I had the same observation. You're talking about the video when they were in the club dancing to that one song, and then like Iris was like signaling for her to come over there, and then Amaya just kind of stayed behind Huda. She was a lapdog that whole trip.
Yes, that's how I felt, Jules. That's exactly how I felt. Like it seemed that way, and it seemed like Houdini would show her just a little bit of attention, but then most of her attention was towards Iris. It almost seems like she was tired of Amaya hanging on to her. Like, yeah, I agree.
I want y'all to share thoughts around this. I'm gonna step away for like 2 seconds. I know Camilla, this is what I mean, right? It's like, again, like obviously we only care to talk about certain people because that's who we are most interested by. But I do think that unfortunately, because of how loud everything has been with Alan, Michelle, Alandria, Nick, that a lot of, and Houdini, right? And but only Houdini in relationship to Olandria and Michelle, right? So her still in relationship to them, but because they have been such a focus, I feel like so many Islanders have been able to skate by on really shitty behaviors and politics and like ways of being in the world. And so I feel like Iris, exactly, Ashley, very telling. I feel like Iris has gotten away with a lot and has not, like, to someone's point in the comments, you said that they've either been like completely, like, I don't remember the way you phrased it. They've either been like indifferent or like in like opposition to the other girls. Yeah, and Iris follows that step with the Deets lady on here. I just don't feel like, I've always said, and this, I made a video about this when Michelle and Alan went home, but I felt like they went home because a certain demographic of people rallied behind Iris and Pepe because they needed at least one couple in the finale that felt like they represented them. And I know that y'all know exactly what the fuck I mean.
And we do.
I mean, at the reunion, when Pepe was saying, like, he felt like there was a lot of differences in them, and then Iris felt low-key offended when he said it, and she said, no, not that much difference. I was like, there's something that Pepe is seeing with her or seeing with her family or her friends or something that's just not sitting right with him.
Yep.
It won't bother with him. You could tell how he was acting. And then when he was in the room with all the other guys and stuff like that, and he was like, oh yeah, she's going out to dinner. It was like, you can just tell, like, when I was looking at her in the villa, it always gave beautiful gowns. She never really gave much personality. Like, she only really talked to 404. And then she hung out with Houdini, but it mostly wasn't really on camera like that. That's why when she popped out with her, everybody was confused, but she hung out with her like a lot behind the scenes. So when they popped out in Miami, she really looked really out of place.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
who looked out of place in Miami?
I don't know. I just feel like Iris just skated by, honestly. She wasn't really being herself. She was just playing in the background, and like, you just skated by just being there and being a blonde, honestly.
Okay, interesting. Because I was gonna ask y'all, like, I've never been, like, I've been to Florida and like different parts, Miami, all that stuff, but it was like when I was younger. But I've never been as an adult. So like, I was wondering how much of like the whole like, oh, like, you know, the tens of Miami, like how they say like, oh, are you a 10 in Miami? Are you a Miami 10? Are you a New York 10? Are you a Georgia 10? Like, that kind of culture. So like, I was wondering how much of that was playing into that whole trip.
Okay,
You
so
manage to live and respond, but will you manage to live for a second for me, please?
yeah, you're good. So I think when it comes to Miami 10s, I think it probably did play a lot into it because body wise, Huda would definitely be a Miami 10 in the body. So them hanging around her, it wouldn't surprise me. And those of you who know what I mean. I had this conversation with my sister-in-law the other day, and we were talking about this. We were talking about LA 10s and California 10s versus Miami 10s. Yes, Mika was saying, yeah, I live in South Florida. Iris is not a Miami 10. Yeah, definitely not. I think Iris qualifies as like a California 10. But I don't necessarily think she would qualify as a Miami 10. Because like I said, Huda would have, with what she's had done and the work that she does to keep up with it in the body, she has, and I hate that we're dissecting women, Lisbeth, but because you asked, in the body, she would be that Miami 10, as opposed to Iris or somebody like Hannah, who would be more a California 10, if that makes sense. Like, I'm trying to stay PC and say it at the same time without getting flagged. Does that make sense?
Yes, I was only asking because, like, yes, these are celebrities and they all have like their own, like, type of social rank now. These are still like people who are adjusting to that. So I feel like they still will try and move in these spaces as if they would have before. Like, I feel like that's, kind of innately who they are. They're older women. They're not like young little teeny boppers or anything like that, to where they're like, going through clubs for the first time or something like that. So I was like, like, I'm wondering if Huda is acting a certain way towards Amaya because of the environment that she's in, and she
Mm.
kind of knows that she's the 10, or she knows that she's a 10 over Iris, but Iris is a white girl, so she can kind of use that as like a prop up.
Yeah, no, Iris in Miami definitely would not be a 10. She would be a strong 7, but she definitely wouldn't be a 10 if we're just going off the aesthetics in Miami, because like someone said, it is more Latin Carib coded when it comes to and that's I'm not saying that she's not a beautiful girl. I'm just saying that when we're talking about comparing from like where they're from, because the vibe tends to lean more towards like that Latin Carib body type, that body aesthetic. That's why Huda, and even to some extent Amaya, would be closer to a 10 over any of the other girls. Andrina would have blown them girls out of the water. Like, and Andrina is the Miami 10. Like, when when you think about it,
So to
she's
me,
that planta no fed.
Mia said not in Cali either, to be honest, not LA. I was thinking the exact same thing. As an LA girl, like I could see like Iris, I think like maybe like Santa Monica area, like maybe Valley, right? But like LA city, like LA County proper, I'm not necessarily. But I understand, I get why you would say, Jules, that like is Houdini surrounding herself. It's like when they say a 7 puts herself around like 5s in order to look like a 10 or whatever the fuck. So like, is she using proximity to Iris in order to like prop herself up because of Iris's whiteness? And
Exactly.
Around Amaya in order to be, I'm more beautiful than this girl, even though Amaya is beautiful, right? But like in this particular,
Actually, I have a theory. I think
Okay.
she uses her proximity to blackness so she could stand out as the preference. Just a thought.
I mean, I agree. I think she, they like our rhythm, but not our blues, right? So, Bobos, we were just talking about Houdini and Papaya and Iris hanging out for Houdini's birthday and what we think that motivation may have been, because to some people's point in the comments, like these are the 2 women that she was nastiest to in the villa, like directly mean to in the villa. And so like, what's happening now? Like what's so different now? Well, one, they didn't watch the show, but like, what's so different now?
Thank you, Tina, for also putting that input, because that's exactly what I was like trying to get at. Is like that whole culture of what people talk about and like using people as a step up to get to a different like level or whatever. Because she also remember, she also said she hasn't had many girlfriends. So I think a lot of the way she moves because of that reasoning is always going to be self-centered. So that's why I brought all of that up.
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me. Like, I don't think that's abnormal. It's like when some Black women, not all Black women, right? But some Black women like to be the only Black woman in the room because that like makes them special in some way. And so they enjoy being the token, because it gains them certain things socially. And so I could totally believe, especially because of how we watched her behave, that she might be being in certain relationships in order to gain something from it, to lift herself in some way. That makes sense to me.
Absolutely agree. I think it was the late great Paul Mooney who said it best. Everybody want to be a nigga, but nobody want to be a nigga.
For real, for real. Okay, y'all, I will say, I don't know if y'all, I want to hear y'all's thoughts on this. So we haven't talked about 3D and Clark in a minute, because y'all know I'll be like, listen, that girl gonna be where she at, right? And I do hope that she can get out of it. A lot of people have said, I hope that her family is pulling her to the side. I hope that, like, hi Miriam. I hope that like people that she loves, like the people around her, like saying, like supporting her, like opening her eyes, whatever. But her entire family went to that Arizona rodeo to support 3D. So to me, it's giving regular. They definitely are not pulling her coattails around it. They seem to be actively in support of the relationship. And yeah, to Mika's point, they probably see it as an opportunity for them too. I want to know, y'all's thoughts around that, because to me, it's almost giving, I don't want to make a bunch of assumptions about her family, right? But it's like, at what cost, I guess, is the question, right? At what cost are you like willing for your child to have like a step up, but at what cost to your child, you know, or to your loved one? I think that for me becomes like the stage parents. Yeah, like the social climbing. Exactly. It's like just, yeah, I'd be curious to hear if y'all have any thoughts around that. And I won't make you go from the bottom up. Just if you have thoughts, I'll let you come off mute.
Sure, I have thoughts. I think that it's rather disturbing. I wish she had more people in her corner who were interested in her well-being rather than their own gain. Because I think that there's going to build a lot of resentment on that end and on her end. And I can see, and I'm not, a fortune teller. However, I've watched enough Lifetime and read enough V.C. Andrew novels to know that there will eventually there'll eventually be some resentment on her end towards her family. Once she has that wake up moment, there'll be some resentment of, why didn't you love me enough to be able to pull me out of this? Why didn't you love me enough to say something? And I hate that for her, because I think that she's a beautiful girl. I think that she has so much potential and she deserves so much better. But also, it's one of those situations, we can't save you from what you don't want to be saved from at the end of the day. And it's just, I talked about this the other day, and I mentioned it earlier in my own live when I talked about when people compare 3D's relationship with Clark to Nicolandria, and people keep saying, oh, y'all wanted her in that struggle love. I do very much see Clark in a struggle love situation, and it's not always because they are financially struggling. I do feel like the struggle comes from when we compare the two relationships, what access each person has and what they've given to the other. And it speaks to feeding into people rather than feeding off of them. 3D knows he's not very well liked. Although he does have access to certain Black elite spaces that he could give Clark access to. Mm-hmm. And I don't think he's ever going to do that because it doesn't benefit him in any way to do so. And I feel like that is where that struggle comes from in struggle love. It's like you have this partner who has these abilities to give you access and to elevate you and make sure that you both are on equal footing. But I don't think that Taylor would ever want anybody in a partnership that is ever on equal footing on him, who could ever get a leg up. I think that this is why he puts her through these humiliation rituals and then reels her back in with, the love bombing and the materials aspect of it. And I do strongly believe that from what I see, there probably is this idea in her head that I just have to stick it out for this long, and maybe I can stick it out, and get something there. And I think we made the prediction last time that I wouldn't be surprised if a baby pops out at some point, and that would be very, very sad, toxic environment to bring a child into, because we know, unfortunately, what that is, and I hate to see that for her. I would hope that even if her family doesn't see it, that somebody in her corner, a friend, would reach out and be like, hey, are you cool, girl? Like, is everything okay? Do you need to talk? Because I think unless somebody who is in her corner, who knows her truly, really steps out and goes against the grain, she's never going to do it. Mm-hmm. I don't see her ever doing it. And she's going to sit in that struggle love until she just emotionally can't anymore. Because she doesn't strike me as the type of girl to let him lay hands on her for real. Like, we've seen the mushing, but Clark really does give, child, you do know I have a tarp in the back of my car, right? Like, I need you to stop playing with me. She does give me that feeling. So I don't think I don't think she would let it escalate that far. And if it did, I think we would know about it immediately. But until then, and until it gets to that point, I do see her trying to ride it out as long as possible.
Yeah. One of my subs, you asked me if something new had happened. No, I was just telling the panel that I know lots of people had said they hoped that Clark's family would say something, but I recently saw a video It came like across my, like, it was like another, anyway, I saw a video where her whole family was actually at the Arizona rodeo where his accident happened, like there to support him. So it seems like family is on board. And so family is probably not, that's not something we should be like hoping for at this point, basically.
Could I say something, Tina?
Of course, Biba, absolutely.
I think with that and her family in support of it, or just like not blatant disagreements of how she's being treated, it kind of reminds me of like, you know, the mindset of some parents who like have a hypergamous like goal at the end of the day. So especially if they have a daughter, it's kind of like they're gonna keep pushing her towards whatever is gonna get some sort of gain for them at the end of the day. So they're not going to like, you know, I don't know. Maybe I watch too many Nollywood movies, but I definitely see that as like, you know, definitely a possibility as why she is still pursuing it. Maybe I just feel like I have faith in Clark. I think she's going to snap out of it. I think she's definitely the type of woman to wait for something better to come along. So that's why I'm going to keep saying free Clark, hashtag free Clark. Okay. So I have faith in her. Yeah, I don't think he's going to get the last laugh on her.
Okay. That is a very hopeful response. I will be honest that I struggle. I think that, and I know I made a video for subscribers y'all have already seen, and so I'm not going to get too much into it, but I do feel like a lot of what we see with Alan and Michelle, I feel like is similar to what I see with Taylor and Clark. And I don't know right now, I don't know if I think that Clark has the ability to really see what's happening. And I like, exactly, she doesn't even know that it's a problem with what's happening. And so if you don't know it's a problem, it's really hard to want to solve it. You know what I mean? And so I feel like this I really do feel like she's there potentially for a few years before she gets out.
Can I say some? I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead, Joel. Please go ahead, share your thoughts.
I'm just gonna preface this by saying I don't know these people, so I don't want to put too much anything into the air. But what I will say, just based off of my own experience at the plum age of 21, and how my parents, you know, treat me, give me advice, all those things. I think in terms of friends, the old saying of you are who you hang around. So I don't think that her friends are any wiser than she is to really get her out of this situation that she may or may not be in. In terms of parents, I think that a lot of the times the people that, well, not always, but some of the times the people that we naturally gravitate towards, the people that we tend to want to be in relationships with, model what we've seen through our parents. So I say that to say that maybe her parents mirrored some of the same things that she's experiencing, so she thinks it's fine. So her parents they think it's fine that he's mushing her in the side of the head, saying that he's gonna take gifts from her, you know, if she steps out of line, like things like that. Like that might have been something that she's heard in her own house, or things that have been said to her as she grew up. So I don't think that there's really anybody in her corner right now that's gonna be Captain Save-A-Ho. No shade. God bless Clark, but you reap what you sow. No shade. Like, you know, when he decided to sit up there and go on live with Crown Royale as the program sponsor, and she was on that air mattress mumbling and cackling with the stuff that he was saying about Alandria and Nick and all of that. And, oh, we real. Let me get a dap up. And she dap it. Like, you reap what you sow, sis. You reap what you sow. I was all, like, my parents and my grandparents, they always laugh. They laugh about it now, but they never really deterred me when I was, like, I'm talking about a little kid, 4 or 5 years old. When older people or anybody that I didn't really know would come to me and would, like, try and kiss up or hug up on me, I would very much reject that and, like, you know, tell them, oh, I don't want your kids, I don't want to be touched, I don't want this, you know, or I wouldn't speak to people if I didn't feel comfortable. And my mom would get ridiculed by other family members. And she was like, no, like, I think that's, breeding him for good discernment, which it did, because I have great discernment. But things like that, like you never know the energy that you're attaching yourself to. So that's why I said she's reaping what she's sowing. So if you sit there on an air mattress and you're laughing at another woman's misfortune shall too pass on you. I don't know. That's my take.
Wait, was
I
it really an air mattress? Like,
Y'all are so funny calling it. Was it really a mattress? Is that for real? Or y'all
I
just be
mean,
saying that?
it was a mattress without a headboard, and it was on the floor. It was on the floor, so I don't know. I mean, that's how she living.
Y'all are so petty. Okay, I will say this.
Oh,
This,
wait,
Jules.
hold on, one more second, because I just want to, because I know we're probably going to pivot by the time I even remember to bring this back. But I think it's also very interesting that Alondria walked the blue carpet yesterday and was in a sponsored booth with very high profile Black women, and Clark was there on the same show, same game, whatever, the same match. I'm sorry, I'm losing words, but she was in general admission. No blue carpet. Mm-mm.
I mean, Nick did say Ola is a celebrity, so I don't know.
Not you said the horses are sleeping better than Clark. Stop, y'all.
And it's no shade, but like, if whoever, like, I just kept seeing, like, oh, the whole, when the Ace interview came out, they were like, oh, the unk that loves Nicolandria, love him down, and he was saying, oh, this is it, like, the endorsements, whatever endorsements they had, gone, all that stuff, like, it's very much giving that.
Yeah.
It's very much giving that.
Let me say this. So here's my biggest, well, it's not my biggest thing, but one of my big things, to Kiana, to your point, one of my big things about Clark being with 3D is that I feel like Clark has an ability to soar. She has an ability to be great. She came out of the villa. People, again, have said we've been asking for the makeup routine, right? Like, not me, but people that wear makeup have been asking, like, that should have been a partnership. That should have been a brand deal. Like, Baby could have been getting a bag, but he is never going to let her have a point where she can have it without him. And I feel like he is dimming her light, right? And this, and to your point, Jules, not encouraging her. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's like, I hate to see what I quote all the time. I hate to see an unsuccessful woman, right, with a man behind her, like Dwight would say. I hate to see, exactly, Michelle as well. I hate to see you not achieving all that you could achieve because some man's ego and masculinity is threatened and fragile enough where you soaring would feel like an assault against them and their manhood and their power and their hierarchy and the dynamic of y'all's relationship. You should be able to be at the top too. And Chris has talked about this with y'all before too. I know we've made a video about it for subs, I think, but it's like, oh no, we made a video about it for subs. We didn't talk about it publicly, but it's like a lot of men will be like, oh, she's my queen, she's this, she's that, but then they treat her like she's a concubine. And this is not to say that concubines didn't have power, but they don't have the same level of power that a queen does. So now you crumbling and fumbling, and your whole kingdom went to shit because your whole role as her man has been to keep her just within your grasp. It's like keeping a bird in a cage. And I just hate that for her. I wish that she was able to truly soar and truly do what she needs to do and could be what she could be. But I don't think he will ever allow that, because then he loses the control that he has, right? This goes back to like the financial abuse conversation we've had, right? If you can't get it without me, then you're motivated to deal with whatever it is that I'm dishing to you. You know what I mean? And I talked a little bit about it with subs, but like the way that I see, exactly, Pia, they have power. That's exactly right. Concubines have power via their access to powerful men, rather than, to somebody else's point, a queen who has power on her own. They're making sure that they relate to them as, you got power in the way that I offer it to you, in the way that I give you access to it. And I hate that for her. I hate that for her, truly. Because she should be walking the blue carpet. She should be eating the caviar. She should be doing all of that. And I think if she had a man that was more secure in her being all that she could be, she would be. But he needs to maintain control. Okay.
And had she not been mumbling and cackling on that mattress that's on the floor, maybe, and if she would have been a real grown woman and corrected Taylor when he was sitting there acting like a little boy, maybe Alondra would have been like, sis, come to the booth. Come eat this caviar. Let's drink champagne together.
Yeah.
But nobody thinks beyond the moment, and that's the problem.
Okay.
And I
Hold
will
on,
also
real
go
quick. I
back.
want to address this comment and then I want you to share your thoughts. I'm sorry, y'all. To the person that said people are not clocking it was Michelle, I agree. People are missing it was Michelle. They are not seeing what is happening. And to your point, Jules, about not throwing shade, I will say as well, right? That it's like shit. What did you say? It made a thought come to my head and now it wants to leave again. Oh, she should have been she allowed herself to play into the narrative in the villa that it was a competition between her and Alandria. And that Taylor was the prize in the competition. Whoever won the competition was going to get Taylor. And so she allowed herself to not see how he was moving without a lack of integrity toward Alandria. And it is dangerous to y'all here in my life. It is dangerous. I'm telling you, as a grown-ass woman and a clinician, it is dangerous for you to believe he'll do it to her, but not to you. Baby, you're not the exception. And I know everybody wants to think they are, but you're not. Thank you, Mega, for subscribing. You are not the exception. Thank you, Megan. You are not, do you hear me? You are not the exception. Who that person is who the fuck they are. Okay? So if they acting like that with that person, especially, let me keep it a buck with y'all, especially if that's how they act to people they're not attracted to. Because that's a lot of what it boiled down to, right? How they treat, and this is specific to men, but this can apply to all partners, how they treat people they're not attracted to. Viva, I don't know the ins and outs. So is she really? I don't know, right?
I'm being sarcastic.
How they treat the people that they are not attracted to matters because that speaks to their fucking character. Do you understand? If you don't take shit else out of this live,
Tina,
this
is why I've been side-eyeing Ace from the beginning for the way that he mistreated Amaya. Because I'm like, okay, so sorry, Lamika, I know you were supposed to go before me. But,
no, I'm sorry. You had raised your hand and I forgot. Lamika, you'll be right after Ann.
Oh, okay. So what happened is I feel like Alan on the island, on the villa, like the way he chose Amaya, I was taken aback from the very beginning. I was like, but you said you expressed feelings towards Shelly. Thanks for the gifts, guys. Why would you choose Amaya? And then him setting his boundaries, totally healthy. But I did see a video with a Dr. Raquel Martin. I love her. And she said that there's a difference between rules and boundaries. What Ace was doing or Alan was doing was setting up rules. They weren't actual boundaries. And I think the way that he did it to me was a bit manipulative. And people kept saying, well, why do you think it was manipulative? His tone was low and the way he spoke was, all right, I know it's semantics, but cadence does matter. And just because his tone is low or that he's calm or appears calm excuse me, I'm eating dinner, does not mean that he is not manipulative. When it came to Helga, episode number 1, where she said, I don't share that I'm a mom until, the man gets caught up. I was like, red flag number 1. You're already a manipulator. I'm done. Like, I'm beside you. Because as a single mom myself, I'm 29, my son is 9, and me and her will say we're young parents, or technically I could be a teen parent because I got pregnant at 19. Semantics. However, the first thing I do when I date is say that I have a son. I have nothing to be ashamed about. And if you align with that, that's cool. If you don't, that's also cool. Because I have been with men before who targets single moms because they're nurturing, they're caring, and they want a mom. They want a mother figure. They want a woman that's catering and nurturing them. Cause like the great Nicki Minaj says, all these niggas is my sons, and apparently some of these men be looking for mommies because they have trauma. Really, to be honest, I'm gonna need some heterosexual black men to please go to therapy. Um, apparently because that's my demographic. Shout out to the LGBT community. I have nothing against y'all, but like black men, really, y'all gotta get it together. Let's clap for Chris and Tina, whose ship name happens to be Christina, which is her name. Because it's rare to find a Chris, and he's a Sagittarius, period. That's why I have been happy and single by choice for the past 3 years. Yes, 3 years. And I've actually been on these TikTok lives where people have asked me, specifically a YT man, how could you be happy and you're single? And another thing that they like to come for, and as you know, Tina and everyone else, I am not an intellectual elitist. He came for the fact that I had a degree. Excuse me? I think men are jealous of us. Some men are jealous of certain women because, especially black women, we are the most educated demographic in these here United States, and you're mad. Because I don't get why they seem to downplay everything that we do. Why? Just go read a book. Please join Jer Bear's book club. Like, he is helping America learn how to read. Please join Jer Bear's book club. This is like, at least the man reads, all right? Like, ugh, Jesus Christ. And then there's this conversation that Blue was having that I really like. She said that Chris is pro women, but I don't think he's pro black. And Alan, he's pro black, but he's not pro women. Like there's like this dichotomy where you can't have both. And like, I think she said that Jeremiah is he's pro woman, but he's not necessarily pro black because he was raised with his white tea mom. And yes, his dad is of Nigerian descent, but we didn't even learn that about him on the show. I'm not saying that he hides. Oh yeah, me too, PM. I'm not saying that he hides any of his ancestry, but he tends to lean more into his white. Yeah, Blue definitely ate. He turns to lead more into his whiteness, and she said that is why Jeremiah's dad is of Nigerian descent. Kay, that's why like he's cool with Austin, and he makes the friendships that he makes. I don't know anything about Chris. Last thing I wanna say is, Chris, aren't you supposed to have an overseas feeling?
Bye and
I'm
bye.
enjoying that so much because why are you about to be back on our TV screens on Love Island Games?
What did I tell y'all? What did I tell y'all?
Wait, is that confirmed?
Wait,
It's not confirmed. It's alleged.
allegedly, but with all the clues that we have, I believe that tall man will be there. Mr. 6'8" will be there.
That's what I'm calling him nowadays. 6'8". Okay, Nick is going live at 9:15, y'all.
Somebody.
So we have 15 minutes. Let's like up the live until we get off and take our field trip. Love note.
Wait, no, I have somebody asked in the comments. Tina, could you answer that? Do you think Chris is red pill? Because I think he's pro black, but I'm not sure if he's pro women.
Honestly, y'all, I'm gonna be super honest with y'all. I haven't watched enough outside of the villa to know whether he's red pill. Do I think he's a misogynist? Mish, do I think he's a misogynist? Yes. Simply because why are you a T-Lane supporter if not? So I haven't seen his interview, Emma, because I'm not paying to listen to that man speak. No shade. No shade, but I'm not doing it. I heard the recap and that was enough for me. So I think he's definitely a misogynist, which honestly, and I've talked about this with y'all before, everybody has a little bit of internalized misogyny unless you unlearn it. You know what I mean? And so, but do I think he's been allowed to, it is behind a paywall. He's been allowed to like live in his a little bit differently because he is the only boy, as far as I know, with his siblings. Yes, Shayla. I'm so glad he didn't come until Meg was gone, because get the fuck out my face with that. Ill. Whole time Houdini is too. Ill. Ew. Anyway, let me not go there. So I don't know if he's a red pillar because I haven't seen enough of him to know that, but I do think he's a misogynist. Somebody asked me to explain the difference between boundaries and rules. I'm going to do that for you. Do not let me forget. But Love Note, please share your thought, and then Lamika, please share your thoughts. So Love Note, I'm gonna give you your time frame.
Okay, I'll keep it very quick because I know we have to make our field trip. But Clark, in a way, a little bit reminds me of my aunt. One, I wish we knew a little bit of her dating history in the past, just to know. I would like to know who has she dated in the past, what has she really put up with in the past. But I do feel like she likes the title of being Taylor's girlfriend or being the picked and chosen person, because I feel like that's how it is with my aunt and in her marriage. She doesn't have a good marriage. We as family members have advised her that she can do better. She can be in a happy marriage. She can be with someone who loves her and her kids, but for some reason she is stuck. She is stuck in a position where we know she can do better. At a certain point, after many, many years of advising her, we ourselves have just given up. And because, you can take a camel to the water, but you can't make them drink. So, as much as we want the best for someone, if they don't want the best for themselves, there's not much that we can really do. And I wonder what her past dating history has been like, if she has been in similar situations or has dated a Taylor in the past. Her family may have advised her, but they know she doesn't listen. So you know what? They said, you know what? We're just going to go ahead with this. If you like it for you, I love it for you type of a deal. And I feel like she likes the notoriety of being Taylor's girlfriend, being that chosen one over Olanger. I saw that in that smile when he said, I pick Clark. And that's something that I feel like she keeps sticking to. And I feel like that's a little bit of her, not ego, but that's something that gives her some sort of a value other than just being a pretty girl. And I think even more so, it probably is the history with his family and the money and the power that comes with it. I don't understand the appeal of being with 3D, like, at all. I don't understand it because I don't find him attractive. I don't like his personality, so I don't know what's keeping her there. But to me, it does seem like there's something comfortable about it where it's like, someone can do better, but I don't think they see that for themselves. And she might not see that for herself. She might feel like, you know what, this is not as good as it gets, but let's just ride this out for as long as I can. And then, maybe she will level up from Taylor and at least see the danger of where she is at. Because right now she does not see that danger at all. She doesn't see what their relationship is as a dangerous place. She likes where she's at, and I don't think her family or anyone can convince her otherwise for now.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Okay, Lamika, thank you, Love Note, for saying that. I feel like there was I have a video for subs where I talk about how this show in general primes girls to be pick-me's. So I agree with that 100%. I think our culture in general primes girls to be pick-me's. But as I'm listening to y'all, I'm like, oh, I probably should make a video about some of the history of like how our culture in general primes women to believe that achieving the title of wife is like the ultimate goal. And how that is at play in some of the dynamics that we're watching. Okay, Lamika, please give us your thoughts.
So I will say this: me and Clark are both from North Carolina. It's a southern state, and North Carolina, I can tell you, still has a lot of colorism. Like, it's really bad. Clark was pretty much competing with Alandria on screen. Her family probably watched Taylor carry on the way he carried on. And if my family watched me date a guy who pretty much led a girl on and was disrespectful to not only that girl, but also was downplaying me at the same time, they will question it. Like, I question the fact that her parents haven't stepped in or said anything to her, but I also got to realize they're from North Carolina. You were taught that it's important to be a girlfriend and then become a wife. It's important to marry a man who got money and that got stability. Taylor has all that. Like, in North Carolina, a lot of parents will marry their daughters off to a dude who they know is horrible. Happened in my family several generations. Marry your girl off to somebody terrible because it's going to benefit the family in the long run. And if she try to come home, they're going to tell her, oh, well, he's a good man. He got money. He take care of the family. You should go back. And I really feel like she's the type of girl, she's going to keep going back until she gets tired or till it gets to the point where it don't benefit her anymore. Because, like, she's like Shelly. Because you can tell when Shelly dad met Ace, he really did not like Ace. He didn't like Ace. And I really feel like her family right now is talking to Shelly and having the conversation that Clark's family should be having with her. Because Ace is doing the same thing to Shelly that Taylor is doing to Clark, but it's harder to do to Shelly because Shelly already had clout before him. Clark don't have any personality or clout outside of Taylor because she's fresh off the island. She don't know anything about influencer life. He pretty much segregated her away from her family and friends in Oklahoma in a new environment and pretty much keep her up under him 24/7 the same way Shelly keeps Ace under him 24/7. And people feel like authentic relationships, you're up under your partner 24/7, and that is unhealthy. You're supposed to have a life outside of your partner. It's not good for you to be up under them 24/7. And I really feel like her family should be trying to get her to come home and be with family so she can separate herself from him and have her own thoughts. Because
Sorry,
right now,
Lamika. Tina, quick question. Do you think both relationships are codependent?
I'll share thoughts after Lamika finishes, and good question.
but I would say I think it's codependent because it's not like Landry and Nick has a healthy balance. Like, they're with each other and then they're off doing their own thing. Like, them two, they're never apart. And that gives controlling and gives she is not allowed to have thoughts on her own because she's gonna slip away if she do. And that's my thoughts on it.
Thank you, Lamika. So I would say, oh, Lamikia. I said it wrong, right? Wait, correct me. Tell me how to
Lamikia.
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 Lamikia. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I like when y'all correct me. Please correct me if I say your name wrong. Thank you, Lamikia. Okay. I actually don't think it's codependent only because I don't think that there's the level of dependency from the men to the women. I think they are attempting to craft a dependency from the women to them, right? And so that is more to Lamikia, your point about control, right? That is about them attempting to create, I want you to be dependent on me. This is why we don't have a makeup routine. This is why Clark is signed to the same talent agency or representation, whatever, as 3D is, right? She's not doing anything outside of him for herself. I think I saw her do like one thing and he was still in the video. So it's like he's not really letting her do anything outside of him. And again, this goes back to like the way that financial abuse works, right? I wouldn't be shocked, y'all. I wouldn't be shocked. I don't know if Nick's Live is going to be sub only, y'all, but typically they start out not sub only and then they might switch to sub only. But he will be live on TikTok in like less than 10 minutes. I would not be shocked if they had a joint bank account at this point. Like that would not shock me at all. And if he had positioned that as like some way that it like made sense because we're in the same talent agency, blah, 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 like that wouldn't shock me because I need you to not be able to just pick up and leave if you want to. You know what I mean? And so to me, yes, AK, I don't know if she's in Oklahoma right now. Somebody asked if she's in Oklahoma right now, but she is wherever that man is because she was in Arizona with him at the, y'all are so funny, at the rodeo with him, right? Like she is wherever that man is. And so, and I think he does that intentionally. He is folding her into his life rather than a relationship and opportunity to create a life together. With Alan and Michelle. If you read their Essence interview, I don't know if you read it, but in Essence interview, he says, we're putting my family and my friends. Getting her into his life. It's no reciprocity that's happening. At least not what they're telling and showing. you're dependent on me, if that makes sense. Okay, Snowy's daughter, I want you to share your thoughts, and then MPB, because you're new to the panel, I want you to share your thoughts as well. And we will then all run over. Everybody has their permission slips. We're gonna take our field trip. Okay.
Okay, hi everyone. So, well, my thought is not like too different from everybody else's. I was just thinking about that live that you did with Glow, right? And how she was talking about how some women are raised specifically to be pleasing to men, and that is the only thing that they are raised for. And I was thinking about the type of daughter, like the kind of people who would use a daughter for that purpose, the kind of daughter that they would raise, right? And to me, like, I'm so sorry. I don't keep up with her a lot, but I have never heard Clark speak with any type of passion about anything. Like when she was talking about what she's studying in school, when she was doing that. But I just don't think she was maybe raised to be like, just a mirror to mirror whoever is around her. And when she was at the US Open, Clark Peoples was there, right? And they were doing a cute little video with Olandria, and people kept asking, we don't see Clark, we don't see Clark. And I really could not think of a single thing to differentiate her from the Clark that was in the video, right? And I just, I don't think she would be able to like live on her own and leave Taylor on her own. I think he would be the one to have to break the relationship, because I really don't see her standing on her own in any type of capacity. And I feel heartbroken to say that, because she's beautiful. But I've really not seen any type of personality from her at all. And I think that is because she was specifically raised that way. If her parents would be the people to use a daughter in that way, then they would specifically raise a daughter who would be that way. You know what I'm saying? And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. MPB, will you please share your thoughts before we head on our field trip?
Yeah, just quickly, I think that last point was really good. I agree with that wholeheartedly, but I also do think that age plays into it a little bit. Clark is 24, whereas Shelly and Alandria are 27, 28, if I remember correctly. I think that Clark will kind of come into her own, hopefully in a year or two, or at least I'm hoping she does, and that she wakes up. I think that 25 is a big deal, but yeah, I just hope that she wakes up and she gains a little bit of autonomy in her choices, or how she makes her own money. And even though I think that's a good point, that she doesn't have much of a personality, she may not be that marketable on her own, she could still find something to do that isn't being with 3 dreads and taking the financial abuse that I see. And I actually am very worried about Taylor. I think that to see this level of activity from him that's troublesome in such early stages of their relationship on such public platforms, I just really wonder what he'll do with time and with privacy. But hopefully I'm wrong.
MPB, I think those are actually, and y'all please tell me if I'm breaking up, I think those are actually like very insightful thoughts. I agree. I think that she does wake up. I just do think that it's a couple of years down the road, unfortunately, because I think that like it's gonna, part of what I'm predicting is that lots of women around that 27, 28, as you're getting closer to 30, it just, your brain clicks in a different type of way. And so I think that might be the first time that her brain really cracks open around what's happening. I would hope not, but it seems like nobody in her family is so I don't know. If it's left up to her, then I think that might be the first time we really see her brain crack open. But I do think that ultimately she gets out. I think that it might take longer than any of us would like for it to take for her. Great
That's
thoughts.
fair.
Okay, y'all, I want to quickly explain rules versus boundaries to y'all. And then we are almost, boundaries exist in order to regulate yourself. So a rule would sound like, I don't want you smoking. Okay. A boundary would sound like, I don't like when you smoke, so I'm going to go in the house while you do. Okay. A rule would sound like, I don't like when you I don't like when I don't want you liking other girls' pictures on social media. A boundary would be like, I don't like when my partners engage with people like this on social media. It feels disrespectful to me, so I would disengage from the relationship. It's a boundary is about controlling my own behavior, not controlling somebody else's. So to y'all's points, what we saw Alan doing with the Maya, right? The reason it was a rule is because he was saying, I don't want you to do this, rather than saying, I don't like it when you do this, so I'm going to take a step back. He just kept trying to get her to not do it, right? Whereas the Maya was like, okay, cool. Well, then we don't vibe and I'm going to take a step back, right? The same thing we saw with Houdini. She attempted to set rules in the villa, and this was the whole breakdown around the heart rate challenge, is because they realized that she was setting rules and not boundaries, because she was not willing to oblige what she was asking from other people. Okay, those are the difference. All right, y'all, he's officially live on TikTok. Bye, see you. Thank you. Sub only comments, y'all, so you can go, but that's it. Okay. You're welcome. Bye, y'all.